Dear friends, it appears that we are live. Good afternoon. We are in Laufen studio in Moscow. Good afternoon. This is our beautiful Olga. We have our beautiful Patricia from Milano. And we have our studio at Mosbuild Fair. We have Yekaterinburg, Novosibirsk, St. Petersburg, and Krasnodar. Everyone is online, but the main thing, most importantly, Patricia is with us. Good morning, Patricia. Okay, let's not waste time. We have as little as 1 hour. We have a lot of topics to cover. Patricia, we would like to hear something from you. We would like to hear about your life during last year, when we have experienced such a complicated situation worldwide. What was the emotional impact, physical impact? How did you cope with that? You were isolated. Tell us, please, a little bit about your life and how did it happen in Italy during the past year?
Well, I'm happy to speak with you, because really, as you always remember, we see us, each other, Capito, and we always are part of a same community through the world. And even if this moment is digital, I always like a lot to see you and to speak a moment. I think my idea.
Tell us about your life during the recent year. Tell us, please.
I think.
How was it? How did you cope with lockdown?
Well, you know me, I live and work in the same place. Then at the beginning, the springtime, the first 3-4 months, we were in home, closed, just trying to reading a lot, changing completely my behaviors, just to adapt to this thing that we really didn't know how could be. And I was with my daughters and Alberto and the dog and the plants, because we have a nice terrace. It was a fantastic thing, and we tried really to focus in little things in really having a laboratory of adaptability. No, the studio did the same, because we all took our computers in home, and then we tried to be very humble and very positive and work from remote. It is and is still being complex for project, because my work is so physical. We need to discuss, to touch the pieces, to even with the clients. It's a work that needs a lot of human touch, but we've been adaptable. But the important thing for me, I know if something has to translate or is direct. It's okay. I can go. No, what I think is not about how was my period of crisis or yours. Each one had different problems, and people could have even much worse than, in my lucky circumstance, that was more or less discreet, working and more or less discreet, healthy way, then it's okay. But I think what we don't have is to waste the crisis. This crisis is being so strong that we don't have to waste it. Means what I want to say. We've been touched so much in our vulnerability, so much that I think we've been so hypersensible to understand what about our life, what about our relation with others, what about many arguments, that I think we have to became a kind of laboratory for behavioral changes for the next future. Possibly from this quarantine being so enclosed, we need a new quarantine to readapt to the world. No, there was a philosopher, a French philosopher, a woman very interesting, Catherine Malabou. She was saying we need a new quarantine to get through out of this quarantine that we were not prepared to have. No, but I think. If we look at the possibilities, we learned strongly to deal in moments where uncertainty, circumstance is the reality. Then perhaps we had the possibility to understand that we have to grow our amphibian roots, We have to have more adaptive in few ways. Now I'm speaking with you. I'm trying to be there with you. Then I'm moving my hands. I'm trying to be sincere. Things that perhaps 1 year ago I was saying, no, I don't want to speak. It was a drama at the beginning, or my first conversation. And now I understand, even if there is, we are doing something wrong, it's better that is sincere, that is well done. That is, and then technology. You had a lot of problems today. It's part of it. We have to deal but humanize all those things that are happening to us. Not only think we have to do perfect. There's no more perfection in my mind. It's only laboratory of trying, even with my clients, said we cannot see so much times the project. We cannot go. Some of them, they are out of Italy, then I can't go and visit. But we are trying to find many ways to be hypersensible and to grow other roots, and that is important thing. That is what I think is important. So.
Well, Patricia, it is very interesting. What is your conclusion? So the conversation with clients, the emotions that we feel, physical contact when we are in this factory, contact with prototype, with product. So you are a material world person, and products that are being created at the manufacturers around the world, you have to feel it, you have to touch it. How do you connect?
Well, obviously we had to become a bit passionate in certain circumstances, in certain clients, in certain works. But at the same time, for example, in my work with, for example, Casina, I had the luck that part of my clients, they are in this region. Now that we cannot even move from the region, I don't say from the country. We still with a moment with very complex situation. Then we try to find many different ways. For example, the other day I was in the company. We were isolated in a place doing the research. Another day we got we were doing a little meeting, and then we did a lunch in the parking, like a picnic, because we couldn't be inside. Then we did a meeting, not in the meeting room, a meeting room in a courtyard. They have sitting with little chairs, but it was fantastic meeting. Then yesterday they come back to me, and we in my terrace, we did another meeting. Other days we do like now, by the net. Then we are understanding that possibly in future we could work in many ways. There are going to be a mixed possibilities of getting in relation with others, and that is going to help a lot the person that have to have an improvised problem, or women or persons that are taking care of someone, of a family, and many times it was impossible before. Say, no, Guarda, I can't be this Friday because, or if I am there, I have to isolate and eliminate all my personal interest. And now we understood we can manage that. Then another thing which I like a lot is me. I mean, this moment I am transparent. That is my stupid bookcase in the studio, but why not? I show it already more times, and sometimes I change things, some books, but it's part of my. But I think these new blur situations, ways of having something in the back that people play in a very timid way. In some meetings, everybody does blur because I think it's logical. But we will grow on that too, and I think we have to grow on creating communication through the net. We have to become much more I think not only natural and sincere, but to understand how to implement. I think I remember with this artist that was creating a kind of orchestra, putting in this, it's not important to explain all the project, but putting each artist, each musician in a room, all of them were connected in between, and they were playing through comunque the digital connection, and they were playing all together. This has been an incredible Rainer. Well, I like a lot his work, but it's been reproduced by orchestras, by many people. How can we explore our possibilities of digital and in a human way with a lot of wrong little things? I hope we find a way to do it with in a very experimental way, and we understand that is the beauty of being humans. I think in the other way, how to be doing a meeting in a little courtyard or with a chair in a simple way, and to find other ways to speak with the people. I've been always meeting with them in a serious way. Is a very something we have to grow from that. No, sir. With my team, we have a
So as a result, what was the result? What did you manage to do during this year? I remember when each year at Milano Fair, we have seen 20, 30 new projects, new collections, items for different brands, for different companies. How much did you manage during this last year, which part of which was affected by this change? And can we see your results of your work, your new project, your new products?
Okay, I can show you. Well, obviously, it's been a year, a bit more calm. For example, in Cassina, we worked very deep on the sustainability, the way we approach materials. We've been working in other sides of the research. We were less open to certain things, but it's been in any way interesting. If I go and I show you some images, as you remember, I'm doing, it's not going on, aspettate, no. Okay, I do with this. I can go with it. Okay. As you remember, we are speaking today, because of the Sonar project that I like to have a look at the beginning and then to have an opening. But that is, we are doing an exploration through my work in this year. This year, as always, my art direction with Cassina is been running on. We conclude in this springtime, the last springtime, just at the beginning of the period, a collection of a sofa. But the sofa was already thought, and Sengu sofa was thought with the idea of getting a new kind of quality and a kind of on recycled, upcycled material inside. Then using the foam, the materials which are inside the sofa, done with recycled materials that they perform and they have a quality even better than the normal ones. Then we were really trying to make understand that there are many ways to get very high level through new researches. And the name Sengu is, the ceremony of those temples in Japan where all the temples, they became reconstructed each a certain time. Then I like a lot the idea that we play on that. We played in different other products. We did very research for the nighttime and the little spaces to work and sleep and arguments like this. We did research in the outdoor, because we began the last year, really short time ago, this new space of outdoor. Then we are creating a family, and it's been interesting to work in with I think an attitude which is with the DNA from Cassina, but at the same time trying to adapt to my fantasies. I always said I saw this how do you say, the trampoline, the place for jumping the little boys. In a travel we did in Greenland a few years ago, was the only outdoor piece, because even with the snow, the little kids needed to go and jump in this, and they were very high legs, because they were waiting for the strong snow that comes in winter, and then we reproduced the piece coming from this metaphorical, this fantasy. I worked with Capellini, and I could go and do a lot of research. We worked a lot together with masks in laboratory, in courtyards, everywhere. But we found the way to do this armchair, which is a very simple concept. There is a name which is done in material recycle, and there is a dress, as we dress ourselves when we go outside, and we did a dress that you can put, and from the beginning, the product is thought how in the way you can dismantle. Then I think I am introducing more and more this idea. We begin a project, but from the beginning, we are thinking how is going to be at the end of his life, how is going to be, or at the medium of his life, how many lives could have a product, how can we approach not only the materials, but how can we be really sincere in approach the way we produce them. And just to make you understand, that is the piece I like a lot. I was getting inside the piece, and I was sending this kind of videos to them to create this, I think, this emotion or this empathy, which is fundamental because we couldn't see us all the time. Then, and the photos you see, the video in the back is done in my courtyard. Then my courtyard became a kind of scenography for the world, but a very simple scenography. This is another piece done with Andrew Word, and the family is Nuez. Nuez was a family of chairs done in plastic and with the upholstery in the inside. They could be always dismantled, but I was in crisis with the material. Then I already, before this year, I was asking them to, if they wanted to do the lounge armchair, I wanted that they find a new way to do this material that we had to mold. And they find a kind of bio plastic, very interesting, that can be if at the end of the use is bio, then is has in a certain time becomes disappear. Then the idea is to play with. I didn't get the word. Sometimes it's difficult for me the English, but the idea is how to think the materials in many different ways. How to you produce them, how you make them that they can be easily dismantled. How you think the materials at the end of their life they can be reused. All these arguments, they are crossing all my products, and I hope we discuss with all the companies in this way. I think this, I like a lot the idea that we keep it the same project as the whole family, but all this what we are seeing now is not anymore the material that we were thinking was before. Then I think each company is giving me a lot of very nice new approaches, and that is, I don't think all the companies can get the same at the same time, but we have to open conversation strongly to make them, each one find a way. One is going to be strong in the fabrics, another one is going to move to something. Each one can find a window of possibilities. This, for example, is a work done with Quadrat on fabrics. We are doing still this year, and we are going to work in the next years doing different fabrics. The idea in this case was a fabric that was coming from a polymer that we needed to do for fabric for working in places where you need a polyester. But at the same time, we were saying, if we do a polyester, we could do another material coming from PET, which is all recycled material coming from the sea, but with the same performance. Then we did a twins. We created two fabrics with they are, when you see them, they are exactly the same, but they are done. One is already with the lows for that we need for fire and blah blah, that we still needing in public spaces because it's part of our rules. But at the same time, the other one is not already in European rules. In America, for example, they are open to this. I think the world is evolving with this argument, but it's done in PET. Then the idea of thinking these new materials, they are going to have a kind of beauty, which is going to be as the one we have or even better. This, for example, is another research we've done on surfaces in Alpi. You know, they create comunque sgrada and quadra, different ways to reproduce, reconstruct the wood with a kind of graphical elements that cross it. This is, for example, matcha. It's been a carpet we done in home, all done in the courtyard. I remember we were working in springtime, always sitting outside, like in a very simple way. And we just did a box of little cuts of things we had, and we began to put them together. And we created the drawers. Went to Sisitapi. They went to India. They did the prototyping in slow motion. They come back to us, but at the end we got it. We got the project, and it was very interesting. And this is, I like, because they were all things. Our courtyard was the place. Ecco. Or for example, this is the work with Hayworth. We did this year this pergola, a kind of building in a building, structure in aluminium with those round sides, which is for them very important to recreate to make more smooth spaces for work. Then the idea is that everybody works everywhere. Then there is no anymore office argument or office attitude. Offices are very important as a playground to meet with you and to have moments where we can catch ideas from others. We can cross a lot of ideas and circumstances, but they are not the only way to work together. Then we were thinking, even inside the office, there will be those spaces that you can have the little cafe inside, or you can have the meeting inside. We were thinking how to make them grow with the company. And now this is the first one they did. Those were the drawings in the springtime, but the one you see now is the one they did at the end of the year. And the engineers and me, we were speaking by digital, speaking, which are your sneakers, Capito? We were playing through any kind of conversation to help each other to have a conversation, which is the argument. But I'm happy because they began to produce. This is with Ethel in Brazil. I asked them to work with them material, with the wood, with the incredible wood they have, always the controlled one. But at the same time, we add this research of new resins, natural bioresins with the wood pieces inside. I think was very interesting. And this is the beginning of a work we did. It was just a miracle. We did with GAN. There was this year, at the beginning of the year, began at the beginning of 21. There was the triennale in Melbourne, and then the National Gallery of Victoria, the big museum, which is done by Bellini, a part of this part of the museum. And inside this room, there is this immense art piece in the ceiling. That they wanted to they asked me, how can we find a way to create a kind of installation, but people could arrive and sit and have a look of this place and create a way. Then we created the recycled woolen island, and it's interesting because it's done with the idea of felter. Felter is always a material which is a pre-compression of wool, but I was asking to work in GAN with all the leftovers of productions they are doing already in wool. Then creating a kind of terrazzo, which is an imperfect material. I am thinking about something that for me is very important, to get a new beauty in materials. Then we created those big socks. Our idea, the gesture, was to throw some big socks on the floor. Like these people, when they see that, the people, Australian especially, that they are very easy. They understood that they could go, sit, enjoy, and have a look of this project. No, at the same time, there was a narrative, and we enjoyed because all the materials, even the labels, were done in PET or other things. And we really did a laboratory of research through the very playful way of working. And we were working in India, in Spain, arriving to Melbourne, and at the end it was not easy. the logistic. They couldn't arrive, the things. Then there was a drama because everything was stopped, I don't know, in some place in Asia. And then arrived, I think, in February, arrived the installation, and they could do it. And then just to say you hello, and then I just show you other things I'm doing in this period. I wanted to have a lot of little flowers from my terrace, that I have a lot of bulbs and things from the 2020 and 21, the two difficult, horrendous years, to get something beauty from them. Then I'm doing a work with all my little bulbs and things that, like an old lady, I put all together. I dry them, no? Then it's something which is a playful and simple thing. Finito. I take this out. Just a moment.
Что вырастет из этих цветов?
Okay, what will become from these flowers? What these flowers will grow into?
Well, we don't know. First there was Alessandro Guerriero, which was with partner with come si chiama? Commendini, no, that left away, those incredible intellectual and artists we have in Milano. He asked to a few persons to do a bouquet of 10 flowers for beginning this 2021, and I did. I am doing a kind of no bouquet, but with my flowers from my garden, those ones. Then I think it's coming a nice thing. I'm ending today. We are sending to him. And then perhaps we'll be part of, I'm doing a work now. What is very beauty that I had the luck in these last years to have professional work in design and architecture. Okay. And I absolutely appreciate, and is the base of all my research and life. But sometimes now we are having, as you know, we did the exhibition from Castiglione in Triennale. We did other things. I did an exhibition in Spain. Now, for example, there is a Capo di Monte. Capo di Monte is the porcelain from Napoli, the most interesting, with the most incredible value, no? That is, I think, Capo di Monte could be one of the main stories, I think, about porcelain in Italia. And they asked me to do with the school a little work, perhaps for October, November, I don't know, for a fair they do, working through the way they do flowers and things. And possibly my attention of flowers in this moment is because I'm thinking how to create something with them. Then I am in the middle of the first idea, then everything can be, everything can't. But it's a work which is to help, and I will love to help, because they have a courtyard that they will love to renovate, and they have no budget. It's complex, these things with the schools, and I would like to do a project that is going to help for that. Then we are working as we were now in Melbourne. I hope that my work in future, I can interact with communities, with stories that they ask me, very simple, and where we can do research. And then what for me is very important is in future is that reestablishing the concept of beauty. And the way to think always in future, the beauty, there can come a lot of beauty from this ugly beauty. I like the concept of beauty and ugly. They are very, very interesting together, because possibly what is a new beauty can be an ugly for many others. And I think it's always and beauty is not more beauty when it's so clear that it's beauty. Then it's interesting passage. But I think from all those recycled materials, that they were always interesting, but it's a little bit poor, something is missing, to how to enhance and make all those recycled materials strongly beauty, or strongly interesting, strongly appealing. That is, I think, is one thing that we should work a lot, which is interesting. We should work a lot in circularity, to think all the end of a product life cycle from the beginning of a project. This is another thing that I think is fundamental. And to understand that we don't have to become ecological. We are already. It's like you are a father when you have a little baby and you say, how can I do well? Because the first time after a few months, you understand there is no conversation. You go on. Then I think we have to have the more, finally, I think in a very enlarged way, we have more awareness about what means is not becoming. We are already ecological, and then this is we have to grow on thinking how to make this adaptable, intelligent, and not to see it like only a drama argument. To move through it with our mind and heart in a serious way.
Patricia, a
request from translators. Can you just speak a little bit slower, please? Otherwise, it's perfect. But summing up what you said, ecology is clear, but what are the global changes that you're feeling in design? What has happened in the last year significant? Something that will not change. I mean, the changes that happened, and they will not go away. You know, they say that the world will never be the same again. So what will never be the same again in design after 2020?
Well, I think a little bit is connected to what I was saying before. I think I think the conversation about the problems we have with Anthropocene, it becomes already a few years. I think this year was a big laboratory to understand many circumstances how can we be vulnerable and how can we have to approach our interrelation with the world in different way. But I think the argument, what it changed is like, more than waiting for an apocalyptic situation, we already, in some way, I like a lot what Timothy Morton, Timothy Morton says, already, in some way, the world is already death, capito. I don't know if I can explain that well, because it's something that he explains strongly well, Timothy Morton. In some way, it's like, in some way, we are waiting for this apocalypse, but the apocalypse arrived already. The apocalypse, which is the death, arrived. The death of this system of thinking that we could go through a way and basta, with a kind of progress and thought. This is already clear for us. Then I think in the moment we accept that, we can look and be more calm and introduce this argument inside us as a shadow. I think I like a lot, Timothy Morton speaks a lot about the shadow from the future. In some way, a shadow means something which is always with you, coming from a sun or from something, is part of you, is important, is comunque, but it's something that you creates a kind of darkness, which is important to understand, capito. Then I think we have to understand that it's not more about we have to change to be. We have to understand we are already. Then it's a bit more, we don't have to convince anyone. We have to all understand that. And I think in this year, we understood, I hope, mostly of the people that were not so, because they were working, thinking, being into cycles, quick cycles, not thinking, I think, with part of my clients. And now the conversations are much more aware. We know we have to move. Each company, each person has to do a lot of little and big approaches in different ways. We are speaking, I remember working with a company about water. What about? And the way you approach the materials we are doing, the way you are doing the company and making people work. Is a much more complex. And one thing which is, for me, interesting that can help us a lot is to, this moment that we've been 1 year stopped. Then what about the time? We were really all saying, we are wasting time. We were giving a lot of qualities of time, wasting time, enlarged time, we were compressed time. We've been speaking a lot about this because we couldn't understand well how to deal with time. But I think when the moment we understand, I have my time, the time, but any other species, any other object in the world emanates, creates time. There are many levels of time that live together, and not all of them come from us humans. Then in the moment we understand that the idea of these mixed levels of different levels of timing, you begin to understand that perhaps you insert in a kind of thought which is more respectful, like Capito. And then I think this is a period that we spoke with people. Normally, I had meetings for work. We spoke about many other things that were collateral, but they were fundamental to put my work of designer with them. Perhaps it's not the moment when we have solutions for changing completely a company, because perhaps it's not to change completely the company, it's to make it evolve, to make the commercial side, to speak with the team of research, with the CEO, with other people in different ways, to find new ways to reconnect from the human side and look, where are we working? I was speaking with a company, I'm an architect, no? And we were saying, speaking about the product, everything was working well. He said, but the problem is here. We have here the company. You have here a courtyard, which should be a garden. You should have this place as the place for the meeting. And then they are doing now. Then what I want to say is a moment where we have to look at us in a very simple way and with a very open mind to change, because we changed a lot of things, even if we didn't want in this period. Then we have the possibilities. I think that is there. And it's not to avoid the catastrophe, because the catastrophe of the way we were thinking is already happened. We are on that way. Doesn't mean we have to be fixed in certain arguments. We have to be open to move to be very adaptive, anti-fragile. I like a lot the concept of anti-fragile, which is from Nassim Taleb. It's been criticized sometimes, but this idea of if you move in the uncertainty, you have to understand how to move to be more elastic, more flexible. You have to be to take energy from that difficulty. If we have a future which is less clear to get it, it's not anymore like my parents' life. I'm speaking from my side. Each one has his. They were living in Spain in a period very linear. I'm living with my daughters in the continent, but we have to grow on this, and then. That is this attitude, I think, in design especially, is the way art directors, but all the elements of the company have to reapproach the company. I hope there come a lot of conversations in the next year when we will be more together physically about this argument. We will not be so thinking we have to show the product. We can even find ways to, in a digital way, to show it, but we have to speak all about it. I think that is important.
Okay, if the world has changed, maybe it has returned to some normal, but how will the function of design change in connection to that? Will there be more design, less design? Will it be more generic or streamlined, or just completely different?
Well, I think as always, we don't look into the future. I am open to be open to discuss, and the future we have, the design is us. Then I think if we are gonna grow in our behaviors, and we are gonna have changes, and I think this design is one of the first antennas as art, as architecture that is gonna evolve with. It's something that is our culture. I think the idea of nature is the day we understand the concept of nature without the nature in front of us, not putting nature like in a window, say we have, that is nature, that is us. The day we understand the nature is us, it's something of us. It's not only, we understand in a more, I think, more introspective, I think, way. The concept of nature and coexistence and different times living, we are going to work better. I think design is just one expression which is really connected to our culture and grows with our change.
Тогда провокационный вопрос.
The provocative question.
I was just saying one thing. For example, to give you something a bit more pragmatical. Obviously, for example, in home for me was a place more or less of my privacy. Now, for example, there are 3 arguments that got inside, even 4. The private spaces in home, they got reduced because, for example, we need much more space for the health. And for what means filters for health, the entrance, understanding and thing. We work on home, then the space of work is taking energy and space and time, space-time of our homes. And the deliveries, we became, all the commerce, all the deliveries, they became part of, you do it from your home. We don't do everything going out. We don't buy only outside, and the fitness and the wellness is part. Then all these things we need to do them in our, I say in many cases, small space, which is our home, and the private side, it became smaller. Then we will have to deal with this. Then how can we do it? I don't think only doing bigger houses. Possibly one part of the people will go more countryside because we will have more work to do. But people, I think cities are going to be always dense because we are growing the quantity of human beings. Then I think the little spaces that will deal with all this public space inside their homes, it's going to be a very interesting argument. Then you will have to do a flexible space that can change to public to private in a nice way, for example.
Круто.
Awesome. I like that our conversation is moving from kind of hands-on into more philosophical. So, another philosophical question to follow up. Maybe in this changing world, all of a sudden, there will be no exhibitions and businesses will have to stop production eventually to kind of maintain nature and profitability. But imagine you cannot do design. Imagine there is no design in the new world. Everything is generic. What will you do? What will you create? I mean, you're a creator, you're a designer. So if you cannot design items because everything is generic, what will you design?
Well, I think I first, as character, I am quite experimental person. Then is as for example, the last period I was in home, and the first months of this I couldn't be working in a normal way, and I was doing, for example, I got inside my I have a little daughter that she draws a lot, and we began to draw, to do little how do you say that doesn't come to me the word in collage, digital things. I was surely I have one side that is very helpful, which is a kind of a space of research by my own. That can be ceramic. For example, this year I discovered a lot ceramic. It's another thing to say. A ceramic is something that is you can do a very personal work. You can get, and it's a very an old thing, Capito. I like a lot because it's not at the same time in the studio. In the moment we were less present in the studio, we were putting our 3D printing machine. We were, with the noise and with the old, we were putting more things, we were creating more things with them because they were the only one working in the studio. And then they put the program in the morning and they were working for, what I want to say is not very, I think, to think the future is just to understand in the moment we are going to change behaviors. I don't know which are going to be the behaviors we are going to have, but we have the design behaviors are going to run after the behaviors as always. I think one thing that I think the technology, we don't have to think only that side. There's another two things which are other problems, all the arguments that they are in the back. Can be problems or can be interesting. We know that in 10 years there will be 1 billion persons that will be without work in the traditional way. And a lot with climate change or with all this global warming, it's going to happen that many places are going to be not adaptable, and we have to change to other places. Then we are going to have arguments very serious, Capito, and they are all part of our life. I think the attitude is always, I think, to get very open to speak. For me, it's not an argument to say you could not do design, but I don't. First, it's not me the argument. We should think that because I've done already a long career, work for my age. I've been lucky, because that I can be speaking here with you and Sherry. But if I'm speaking about my daughters, which is what for me is the important thing, is to see daughters and your daughters, and I say daughters because I have women in home. But my interest is how much there will be introduced in a better world, which is one of the arguments we have. How all the different kind of person that will arrive from other places, because there will be a lot of more movements of people. They will be introduced, and we will be open to those things. That's an argument important. How we will keep in some way human in a kind of very technical and technological world. I think before we became all how can we become amphibian and open to all the technology and make the technologies respond to us, and how to be adaptable or make there is a lot of, I think the scale of big data and the scale of human are so different that I think it's one of the most biggest problems. At the same time, the Anthropocene, we understood what we are living through. Then I think the attitude is, I hope my daughters, they are open with me to changes, to be flexible and adaptive. I think they believe a lot in sharing. Perhaps now I'm saying to you, we cannot have a conversation, but I hope the next year when we will be all together, there will be a lot of convenience, people are speaking. I think there is the new initiative, the new Bauhaus, which is something they are doing in Europe, which is interesting. They are trying to how to put together engineers, architects, philosophers, designers, different educations, put them together and to understand how can we approach in a very simple, intelligent, and more open way the future. Then possibly we will.
Patricia, this is tremendous. Thank you so much. You're saying the things that are so important. They matter so much to all of us globally and in Russia as well. Thank you so much. We have not much time left, and I wanted to give to the audience a chance to ask questions. The audience, they have lots of questions. We have like 12 minutes left, so 3 minutes per questions. 5 cities are live with us. So I'm handing the floor over to the studio in Moscow at Mosbuild Expo. Svetlana. Yes, let's welcome Patricia. Patricia, hi there. Welcome from Mosbuild in Moscow. I truly hope that you can see us, you can hear us good. So, together with Mikhail, we wanted to ask this. Was there in your career ever a project, maybe very hard, or something that was kind of a very significant point that influenced your career as an interior designer, something super significant that changed everything as a project? Tell us about that.
As a project?
Something very significant, that changed your career, the turning point in your career, a project.
Well, I think I can't give you one strength because it's not like this. Then I will say you wrong thing. But I think my life has been like steps. One step super important that I was a student in Madrid of architecture, and I needed to move. I needed to move after 3 years. And then I went to Italia, and then I having to re-begin in the other university and then my studies in a new place. I found new teachers. There was a teacher of design. Design for me as a Spanish was a secondary discipline. For me was architecture, and then I focused on design. That has been so important for me because of my movement, crossing from my comfort zone to an uncomfort one. Second thing that has been important that I think in the 2000 more or less, I decided, I said, basta. I'm very social. Then a person social, I said, I am open to work with others. I said, basta, I don't work for anyone. I would do my studio. I had little team, no money. It was a disaster, but it was in 2000, 20 years ago. And I understood that this passage that I thought was complicated was necessary. And that was so important. I began to work with my husband, Alberto, and then the energy of us getting through a family and a studio. And that was for me, changed it completely, boom, became a volcano, I called. And many things happened after that. But I think these two moments have been very important. Then to meet Castiglioni, and to have the look at and say you do it.
Maybe yes, a question about Castiglione. We have actually a question from the audience. Let's listen to them from Krasnodar. Hello there. Greetings from the city of Krasnodar. Patricia, mini studio.
Bello, Krasnodar. I like.
So question from Natalia. Patricia, hi there. Olga, Alexei, greetings. Thank you for the chance to ask a question in person. Question about Castiglione, Achille Castiglione. You studied from him, and the influence of that person on industrial design is indisputable. So, after so much time, out of the things that you've learned from this master, what is with you fundamental and indisputable? And maybe you reconsider some of his teachings and do it differently compared to him. So what is that?
Well, when you have a master, you cannot do what he does first. The master has to be something that gets inside yourself, and then you have to reproduce something which has to do with yourself, but is connected with the energy that he gave to you. It's not just something to reproduce exactly. Or I don't like this kind of students or person that they how this approach to a master. What Castiglione gave us, and I say not to me, to us, person that we could have lessons with him, and this that was really clear. Obviously, what about curiosity? Was saying you can have everything, but you cannot do this work and be changing with the society. And if you are not strongly curious, then that we can approach. Okay, curiosity for him was the best, but was not only that. He was always saying asking us, which is the fundamental element in your project? He was asking, and this thing when I was a student it was not so clear how to give an answer, because you were a bit insecure, because perhaps you were moving in for your project into 2 or 3 things. He was always saying, if you have very clear in the process of even an architecture, when I'm doing a hotel or things which are very complex, or in a project of design, you have to have something where you don't have compromises. You have this elemento fondamentale del progetto, fundamental element of project. You don't have compromise. Then you can compromise all the other little things around. But there is one element that is driving yourself, that if you lose it, you lost your aim.
Yekaterinburg, we're on with you again.
Екатеринбург. Да. Здравствуйте.
Hello there. Can you hear us? Can you see us? Patricia, hi there. Olga, Alexei, greetings. Patricia, you are amazing. You're so emotional, so deep in your contemplations. It was very interesting to listen to you. Here is our question. you're looking far ahead. So, describe design in 50 years, or in the upcoming future, at least.
Well, 50 years, you said to me, perhaps there is a lot of other people nearby you that will have more approach to this. I hope, I can't even imagine. I don't know. You know, obviously, this. I think if you ask me, I think people will be. Much more people, for not saying quite everyone, will understand that they are designers. I don't know if I say that. I think because I can't, it's imagination. We are going to have more tools because a lot of technical tools, more, and I think I wanted to show you. I don't have it now here, but I bought, you know, these. No, if I have it here, you give it to me. You show la borsa quella dorata, quella dell'istrumento musicale. Che cavolo, niente. You know, a little tool which is that you, I make it arrive for my Christmas gift, that you connect it to yourself, you touch it, and you can do music touching your body or touching some fruits. Hai capito? Then it's something that is running through the net. It's not especially expensive, and a lot of young people are having this little thing. For me, is what I think is future. More and more, we will share through the net a lot of engines and things that we can have. There will be a creativity more mixed through all the world, because you will never be peripheric. Because I think through the digital, you know, now we are not peripheric in this moment. We are all the places I'm seeing here in the desk, which are fantastic. We are all connected in this moment. There is no center in this moment. We are all connected. It is, and me, I'm part of this little universe with you. Then people will be more connected in this, and we will share a lot of know-hows. Technologies will simplify many things, and we will become really sincerely in a calm way, all more designers. Because this, I think, I still think we are all designers, but at the same time, I understand. I think, and we will share a lot. For example, sometimes I think when I'm speaking with a team of research, where there is, I know there are two persons which are very sensible. Then they give in the approach of the research a lot of sensibility. Others which are more engineer approach, and all these kind. I think more and more we are going to be more mixed. I hope we will be teams where they will be the one which is more with a bio research, is more in a certain way. Another more technician, another one is more artist. We will be teams over more mixed. And in the way we live and the way we work. I think those so specialized ways of thinking, I think they are, in my imagination, they should a little bit disappear. And then we will create teams which are more using different approaches. This, I think, this is a fantasy. Another thing, I think.
Здорово, мне кажется, это блестящее будущее.
Patricia, thank you. This is a beautiful future. We have time for one more question from St. Petersburg.
Come on, St. Petersburg.
Hi there, Patricia. Olga, Alexei, hi there. Thank you for a beautiful presentation. Thank you for a story, and many thanks to Laufen for making this happen. Indeed, Laufen uses in its works ever since 1892. They've been using all sorts of ceramics since 1892. They make furniture, and they always apply innovative materials. And that has been mentioned in your presentation many times. So question, Patricia, what is the new up-and-coming material in the near future? Not for the month, not for the year, but for the future. What should we be looking at? The new material, the new hot material.
Well, I can give you a very interesting answer, but if I try to be really sincere, I think there is no one material coming. We don't have always to select so much the answers. I think in some way I'm approaching with different people, researchers with bio new materials, bioplastic, all these biotechnologies that are invading our materials. The other day I was speaking with a cement that they are applying now those probiotics where they want that is performing in a certain way, giving a temporality different and a growing and natural growing to the materials we have. That I think that is the real future. It's still being in the reality not so useful. It's more in the research. If you go to the MIT or to go to other kind of university, I'm just giving an example because I was speaking with a person from there. But obviously that is, I think, one of the arguments more interesting. But possibly, biotechnologies introduced and nanotechnologies introduced inside the materials that we know will give another life and will increase and will enhance the materials as we think now.
Patricia, уделите нам, пожалуйста, еще 2 минуты.
Patricia, 2 minutes, please. We have an exciting question from the city of Novosibirsk, from Siberia. Novosibirsk, are you with us? Yes, we are here.
I love you. No. I need
warmest greetings from chill Siberia.
No.
Greetings from Siberia.
I want to see. No. I need a photo from you, Capito. Fantasticos. This, you are a laboratory. I think we are gonna work like this.
It's just they're in different time zones, so they're already in the evening.
I do anything for my Siberia women. There is a group of women, incredible. What can I answer? You are the future. You are the future already.
Patricia, question. Can we call your design feminine or even feminist in a way? Kind of a feminist in style, feminine in style? Or it's just kind of a genderless? Do you separate design into more masculine or feminine, or it's just genderless? We're asking because there are so many ladies in design, but not enough. It's more of a masculine profession, by the way. But in Russia, ladies are mostly designers. That's kind of a difference.
Yes, I think they are, and they must be in the next generation much more, and we have to be believers absolutely in that thing. But about, I think the word feminist, sometimes I think I don't feel so, it's a bit rigid for me. At the same time, feminine sometimes is only is limiting a little bit part of it. We are different kind of human beings, as they are different species and they are different so many things. That the important thing for me is that we try to speak to complexity, to cohesion, to others, to interrelation, and for me, more people coming from all the situations, woman, person with any kind of limitation, because sometimes it's because you are a foreigner, then in some way you represent a diversity. There are many ways. I was in Italia. Sometimes I was saying, they say me, when I was in a team of men, and I was the only one, that is years ago, I was saying, I don't know if I'm more diverse because I'm a woman or because I'm Spanish in a team of Italians. I think we have to be open to insert and defend many diversities, and one of the diversities is to be a woman. Then all of the diversities and minorities give another point of view, give different point of view, and grows. And then at the end, what we have to is to solve a problem for the human beings, Capito. And not only for the human beings, because we have to take care even from the rest of the world. A lot of things, a lot of homeworks.
Супер!
Мы так чувствуем вашу энергию, которая идет через...
Patricia, we feel your energy transmitted through the screen. Thank you for sharing. We want to come and hug you and embrace embrace the TV.
Veramente.
Patricia, yes,
Очень любят, и
you know that you are very much loved here. And anytime, whenever you want to arrive to Russia, we will be welcoming you warmly, showing you everything. I remember that St. Petersburg you have not seen, not to mention Siberia.
открываются
Oh,
границы.
no.
So Siberia, as soon as the borders are open,
You know, I always say with Alberto, my husband, our love story began in Moscow. Ecco. We went for travel, ecco, and for work. It was a travel for work. And then we come back as a couple. Ecco, then it's been interesting, ecco, in my life.
Это хороший повод, чтобы...
a good reason to return. And hello to Alberto.
Yes, veramente, sì.
Patricia,
He
thank you
shares
so
really
much.
with me all this path, which is complex. Because I try to be attached to a normal life with my family, and the community works with me. We try to have a very normal relation and to grow all together. I believe a lot in communities. I believe a lot. And Alberto believed it like me and helped me to do this team of 10, 20 years. And I say thanks to him too, a lot.
What can I say? Thank you. Thank you.
Ciao.
We are wrapping up. Ciao.
Ciao.